Hi, my name is Randall A, and you join me today on the Infertility Channel. I love bagels, I know I always have. I'm going to put these aside for a second. Love to cook, and in future episodes, we are going to focus on recipes for conception. I'd like to get something off my plate right at the beginning, and that is a website. It's choosemyplate.gov. Go there for the best information on nutrition. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the stuff you should be eating to give you your best chance for conception. So let's talk about diet. Let's first start with protein. Meat and poultry are very good, and fish as well. You can have about 12 ounces of fish per week and concentrate on the smaller fish like salmon, tilapia, haddock, flounder, trout. Beware those big fish that can be chock full of mercury, like sharks, swordfish, marlin, and the big tuna. All of those can be bad for you and egg production. Now, let's talk a little bit about calcium. Here we have some yogurt. Also, you should be eating milk and cheese, and maybe that occasional bowl of Ben & Jerry's ice cream. A Harvard study, the Nurses' Health Study some years ago, suggested that whole-fat milk, in moderation, is better than skim milk for conception. Now the vegetables. The brighter, the better. The more color you see, the more these are chock full of nutrients. Things that I don't have here: blueberries, pumpkin, kale, peas, strawberries, all of those, like the tomatoes or like the limes, are chock full of nutrients. So concentrate on those. Let's talk a little bit about fluids. Water is your best friend. You should really be having 6 to 8 ounce glasses of water per day. You can have other fluids as well, but take caffeine in definite moderation. Some studies have suggested that greater than 150 milligrams of caffeine per day may increase the risk for miscarriage in the first trimester. Also, it's important for you to keep up with your prenatal vitamins. You need to be taking 400 to 800 micrograms per day of folic acid, also known as folate. So now let's talk about shopping habits, because this will direct the way you eat. When you get your shopping cart, go around the perimeter of the store. That's where all the good stuff is. The dairy, the produce, the meat, that's where you need to shop. You can even avoid as much as possible the whole inside of the grocery store. That's where the grocers make their money, and that's where all the artificial sweeteners and additives are, all those preservatives that you really shouldn't be exposing your baby to. A couple more tips on foods to avoid in excess. One would be red meats. Why? Because red meat eaten in excess can increase blood ammonia levels, and that's bad for both making good eggs as well as making good sperm. Alcohol really shouldn't be consumed while trying to conceive, and certainly not at all during pregnancy. So avoid alcohol. One more thing, we started with these bagels, and basically avoid white carbohydrates. Avoid white rice, white bread, white pasta. All those refined floury foods are not good for you. Go with these whole wheat alternatives, which are burned more slowly and which provide you much better nutrition. A great book is The Fertility Diet, which was published in 2007 by one of the authors of the massive women's health study at Harvard. I would like to leave you with the big tips from Dr. Chavarro. We'd like for you to avoid the trans fats, and those are those artery clogging fats found in the center of the store. For example, in those long preserving, well, they don't make Twinkies anymore, but you get the idea. So anything that's preserved and has fat in it has trans fats, not good. Now, we would like for you to concentrate on the mono and polyunsaturated fats. Those are things like nuts, like walnuts, almonds, pistachios, or seeds, flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, great sources of those monounsaturated. Also, olive oil, canola oil, you get the idea. Okay, let's turn to vegetable proteins. It is certainly fine to be a vegetarian or a vegan throughout pregnancy, no problem. But we will want you to be concentrating on legumes like lentils, peas, soy, tofu. All of those are great. And concentrate on things like walnuts, almonds, pistachios, flax seeds, all those things we've mentioned before. A lot has been said, but just eat well. Go to choosemyplate.gov. And I'd like to tell you a story about what not to do with your diet. Some years ago, a young lady came in to see me because she quit having periods. I later found out that she was injecting herself with a hormone called HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin. HCG is the pregnancy hormone, but she didn't know that. So she was on this very restrictive diet, just taking in 500 calories a day and every day injecting herself with HCG. Well, she wasn't getting her period, and She took a home pregnancy test. It was positive. She lost her boyfriend when she told him. Then, when I discovered the HCG, I said, stop that. Her periods came back. Her boyfriend didn't. That's a crazy story. Thanks for joining me today. If you have comments, please leave them below. Now, if your comments are of a personal nature, email me and I will look at those. I will not be able to answer those, but I'm going to dignify those in future episodes. Thanks so much for subscribing. If you've not done so, please do so. Tell your friends about us, and I look forward to seeing you back next week on the Infertility Channel.